With the time being 8:17, I'd like to call the Government Operations Committee to order on this wonderful Monday, August 4th of 2025. Roll call, please.
Solkaitis.
Here.
Folks.
Here.
Bungard.
Here.
Munns.
Here.
Gam.
Here.
Spellman.
Here.
Petrola.
Here.
Wirball.
Here.
Essner.
Here.
Weber.
Here. Thank you very much. Next up, I need a motion and a second to approve the omnibus bill.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Alderman Folk, seconded by Alderman Munns. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. That is approved. Next up, we have an update, a city finance update from Finance Director Bill Hanna. You have the floor when you are ready.
All right. Thank you very much, Chair Weber and everyone. So tonight we have a finance update on the GOC, and this is a result of a desire to have a periodic update, discussion of finance and various topics. So what I put together tonight was a brief 10-slide deck of just some kind of tidbits and nuggets and updates on certain things of where we're at, update on our audit process and some of the year-end financials, and then obviously just have an opportunity for questions and future topics for discussion. So there's no action items for tonight. It's really just meant to be informative. So obviously if there's any questions, please let me know. And I apologize if I've been coughing a lot. I've been getting over a really bad cold for the last couple weeks. So really our agenda is, like I mentioned briefly, to talk about the status of our audits and a couple tidbits from our 4/30/25 financials that we're finally closing out, touch base on our recent monthly financial reports, give everyone a little bit of an update about our update on our police and fire actuarial evaluations, as that's part of our audit process and something that we're working on right now, and also provide a brief update on what the final 2024 tax levy numbers were as it relates to what the final tax rate was, EAV, and new construction, and then just a wrap up of a couple of other items at the very end. We are in the middle of our audit process, so I thought it might be helpful to just kind of illustrate what our audit process here at the city typically looks like. Our audit process is really something that happens, and there's a lot of work that goes on throughout the year, but the 6-month window between March and October is really intensive. That's when a lot of the heavy lifting by my staff is taking place. So we kick off the audit process typically in March with a planning meeting with the auditors. Our fiscal year ends April 30th, and then we wind up scheduling some preliminary field work with our auditors in May. After that meeting is when a lot of the heavy work begins in terms of getting all our trial balances and adjustments and accruals ready, and those are typically done by middle of July. Where we're at right now is in the final audit fieldwork stage, and the auditors typically are on site here and there for about 3 weeks, and they are wrapping up their fieldwork engagement portion of it as we speak right now. Once they're done with that piece of the audit process, that's when we get our draft reports compiled, narratives written, and we have that all done in time for presentation of the city's financials and the annual comprehensive financial report at the October 6th Government Operations Committee. That way we have time to get all of the required financials and audit reports and external filings done by the end of October. So since we're just kind of touching on finance stuff and we're in the middle of the audit process, I just thought I'd just provide a little bit of narrative of what that looks like for somebody that might not be as familiar with it. So a couple quick notes about our year-end financials as of April 30th. Our general fund obviously is our main operating fund for the city, funding most city services, police, fire, public works. The general fund looks like it's ended about $550,000 to the positive. This is a little bit better than was anticipated back in January and February. We anticipated using a little bit of reserves back then when we were doing some initial projections. So that was due to a couple of reasons, including higher increases in sales tax revenue, investment income, and a few expenditure variances. One of the things I wanted to mention and take the time to do is to kind of get a little bit in the weeds about some additional changes that occurred to the Leveling the Playing Field Act that the state of Illinois enacted on January 1st, 2025. That act, which was originally enacted in 2021, was meant to level the playing field between brick and mortar retailers in the city and remote out-of-state retailers that weren't paying full sales taxes, but just paying a use tax to the state of Illinois. That use tax is distributed on a per capita basis to all the municipalities based on population. So the state made some additional changes to that use act, which wound up decreasing the amount of use tax that was being distributed to all municipalities effective January 1st, effective for activity beginning January 1st of 2025, with the idea being that those out-of-state retailers, remote retailers would pay the state sales taxes that the city receives a portion of, as well as any local sales taxes as well. So with those law changes, the idea is most communities would probably see a net increase in the total revenue that they would receive, but there are going to be some communities just based on how it was distributed and various other reasons why we might have a positive or negative net to that. So when we look at some of the sales tax numbers from the last fiscal year, you'll see a slightly larger than anticipated increase because of that change. So several $100,000 more were due to the implementation of those changes due to the Leveling the Playing Field Act. So I just wanted to kind of point that out, and I got a couple of graphs after this slide to kind of illustrate that. And lastly, overall, the utility funds, our electric, water, and sewer, ended the year within expectations, as we discussed during the budget process, as far as what the user charges were that we were going to collect, what the operating costs were. We did have some variations with the timing of the completion of certain capital projects, but that's typically happens every year as we go through our annual process of getting those projects done. So this illustrates on the kind of what we were talking about in terms of the sales tax and the use tax. So in previous fiscal years, you see the use tax revenue that the city received from the state was about 1.3 million. The final number decreased with that change effective January 1st, 800,000, and we anticipate that number going down to 200,000. Now, that is to the expectation is that will be offset by an increase in sales tax revenue paid directly to the city via the state. So I just wanted to kind of show the illustration that that revenue source line item is going to go down significantly, but the intent based on the act that was passed was to have not just the state taxes, but the local sales taxes imposed on that transaction as well. And you can see some of the final numbers for the municipal 1% sales tax as well as the home rule sales tax for the prior year. I'm not going to really get into a lot of the detail on the numbers on this slide. I just wanted to illustrate, remind that we do submit the monthly financial reports to City Council for review. This is just a snapshot of what that was in June. With 2 months into the fiscal year, everything is as to be expected from a budget to actual standpoint, really no surprises. Revenues coming in as expected and expenditures tracking with what was budgeted so far. So 2 months into the fiscal year, it's really early to, unless something unusual came up, there's really not a whole lot of trends to report on, but as of now, everything seems to be coming in as expected. In our monthly financial reports, we show these trends in sales tax revenues. We show 2 prior year actuals on a monthly basis, as well as the current trends for the current fiscal year, which is in gray. As you can see, the first 3 months of the fiscal year, sales tax revenue is strong increases year over year over the prior year, so that's a good thing. One thing I want to note on these charts is that we do accrue sales tax revenue on a 3-month lag. So while we have 3 months of revenue of May, June, and July that we're showing here, we accrue those to the prior fiscal year based on when the transaction happens. So when you buy something in April, the city doesn't receive the sales tax revenue until July. So that revenue is really accrued to the prior April as revenue. And so there's a 3-month lag in terms of cash and how we accrue revenue. So while this first 3 months here of sales tax revenue are really positive, we've already accrued that to the prior fiscal year. So it's not really an indication of how the current fiscal year is going to be. kind of unfolding. We won't get the first month of sales tax revenue for May transactions until August. So we have this 3-month lag that we're always kind of waiting on. Just kind of give a little bit of how that works. Another one of our primary revenue sources in the general fund is our state shared income tax receipts, also known as LGDF. You can see those transactions trending for the first 3 months of the fiscal year, very close to the prior fiscal years. This is a very volatile revenue source. It's going to fluctuate a lot based on changes in the economy, especially at the state level, since it's based on corporate income tax receipts, individual income tax receipts, withholding, and unemployment. So that's definitely something that can vary significantly based on how the economy does. The chart to the right shows general fund expenditures through the first 2 months of the fiscal year. Again, most of our costs in the general fund are related to personnel, roughly 67%, and the other big component of that being contractual services. So facility maintenance, IT contracts, snow plowing, TRICOM, all those different types of contractual services that the city employs and has. But again, really nothing notable to report at this point in time. So I wanted to kind of pivot a little bit and talk about the police and fire actuarial evaluation. So during the audit process, the city engages an actuarial consultant to obtain an updated police and fire actuarial evaluation. This is essentially measures the accrued liabilities in each pension fund along with the value of those assets as of April 30th, 2025, and we incorporate those valuations into the city's ACFR. This valuation is done in order to determine what the city's contribution needs to be to each of those pension funds in the upcoming year in order that those funds can achieve a 100% funded status by 2040. As a reminder, the current requirement in state law is to achieve 90% funding by 2040. So these valuations are really the kind of the base component of any upcoming tax levy discussions. And the tentative results of those right now, and they're still waiting to make sure they're finalized, but right now it looks like on the fire side, there's about an 8% increase in the city's actuarially determined required contribution for next year, and a much lower increase on the police side of $4.5 million. So an overall increase about $265,000 or 3.5%, just looking at the total actuarial valuation city required contribution components year over year. So those components are really the kind of the first step into kind of determining, okay, what does the city's upcoming components, at least of the tax levy, would look like, as this has to be the base required component for any future discussion. So overall, right now, the funded status improved for both of those pension systems over the past year due to strong investment returns and overall positive actuarial results compared to what was assumed. So then I just wanted to kind of update on what the final 2024 tax rate was in terms of the levy now that those numbers are finalized. As a reminder, the 2024 levy was a 1.7% increase over the prior year of about $249,000, meant to capture the estimated known values at the time of new construction and any TIF recovery EAV. The actual new construction EAV was closer to $24 million, so that was higher than the initial estimate. So there was more new construction added to the city's overall EAV base in the for the 2024 year than was initially provided to the city. So the city's final EAV was just a shade over $2 billion, which was an increase of about 14%, which was pretty significant. There was also a large increase in the value of the existing property as well. At the end of the day, those changes in EAV, along with the 1.7% increase, resulted in a significant decrease in the overall property tax rate from 0.82 to 0.73. So it's roughly 11% decrease in the overall tax rate. So the chart to the right there, you can see the different EAV components and the increase, as well as the final ending total tax rate of the city. And just to wrap up, obviously there's a lot of general economic and fiscal uncertainty out there on several fronts, and those things can impact kind of how we approach budgeting, levy, and just monitoring things to make sure the city stays in a good overall financial position. Just a quick update on our utility rate study. As a reminder, we are in the middle of our utility rate study for all three of our utilities: electric, water, and sewer. Public Works and Finance staff are working cooperatively on that with our consultant, and so far staying on track with having a draft report sometime for discussion in November. Final note is we are planning on having tax levy discussion earlier than the last process, with initial discussions with no action in August or September. So that is what we gathered to present as sort of a little bit of a financial update tonight, and I'm happy to have any questions or discussion.
Thank you for the update, Bill. I know that you, just to confirm, you're going to send out this presentation to everyone up here, please? Yes,
it'll be sent out tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much. With that, I'll open it up to any questions up here. Go ahead, Ryan.
Thanks for the presentation, Bill. Just a quick question on the ongoing utility rate study.
Yep.
Is that going to take into consideration the lead pipe replacement policy when they do the study?
Yes, the study will take into effect the requirement that I don't know the number off the top of my head. I think it's roughly $8 million a year for 10 years. Well, that will be part of the rate study calculation.
Okay, thank you.
Regarding the pension funds, Bill?
Yes.
You had stated that they need to be at 90% and 100% by 2040. What percentage are we at now? If I guess I could ask that question. Right?
Sure. No, that's a good question. So the both funds experience a slight increase. Improvement in the overall funded percentage. I believe fire is around 70%, and the police improved to about 58%.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Alderman Bongard.
Bill, do you anticipate the property tax levy being higher than 1.7?
That's something that I think we internally are still going to finalize and discuss, kind of taking into account, what the various initiatives and operating costs and capital projects that are ongoing, and then we would kind of bring all that information together and come forward with a recommendation soon. So, I think it's fair to say yes, that's a strong possibility that it would be higher. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though the 1.7 looks like it overperformed what we thought it was the totals are going to be. So the recommendation will probably just anticipate that it's going to be a higher ask.
I think that's reasonable.
Any other questions at this time? As you know, there's no action needed, so thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Bill. Good job.
Okay. Next up, we have item 6A. We have Acting Deputy Chief Lamella, who's going to make a presentation. That's right.
Yeah.
We weren't going to leave you out.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
You stood there so nicely for the other one that we have to give you a chance to come back.
I'm patient.
Yeah, there you go.
Good evening. Tonight is a recommendation for approval for the closure of parking lot B and IDOT resolutions for the closure of Main Street, Route 64, from 6th Street to 2nd Avenue for 2 high school homecoming parades. The St. Charles North High School is requesting to hold its homecoming parade on Friday, September 12, 2025, while St. Charles East is requesting to hold its homecoming parade on Friday, September 26, 2025. Both parades are scheduled to begin at 1 p.m. and are expected to last approximately 30 minutes. As in previous years, both schools are requesting to maintain the tradition of using the established parade route along Main Street, beginning at 6th Street, proceeding east, and concluding at 2nd Avenue. Both schools are requesting a partial closure of Municipal Lot B, which is located behind Flagship on the Fox and Pollyanna. This will help facilitate the loading and unloading of parade participants and parade vehicles. We are recommending the approval of the partial closure of Municipal Lot B, as well as the IDOT resolutions for the temporary closure of Main Street from 2nd Street to 2nd Avenue to accommodate the homecoming parade scheduled for September 12th and September 26th.
great. Any questions?
Move for approval.
Motion by Wirball, seconded by Petrillo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, that is approved. Thank you very much, Deputy Chief. Next up, we have item 7A. Chief Mothy is going to make that presentation. You have the floor when you're ready, Chief.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to request temporary closure of parking lot J and the 100 block of North Riverside Avenue for Saturday, September 6th for our annual open house. It's a tradition that we've done for a number of years. The request for the parking lot is because of a number of exhibits that we have, including special teams, demos, vehicle extrication, life burn demo, junior firefighter combat challenge, and a number of different things. So we blocked that area off just to make sure that we can have those demonstrations available and people walking around without the issue of any traffic. Same thing with the 100 block of North Riverside Avenue, which is directly in front of the fire department. So people can walk back and forth from inside of the fire station all the way across the street for those demonstrations. We're requesting it from noon to 3 for the event, but then the closure will actually be from 6 a.m. Until 5 p.m. to allow us for setup and removal.
All right, great. Is there any questions about this?
Move for approval.
So I have a motion by Munn, seconded by Gem. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, that is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Mothy. Next up, we have item 7B. Deputy Chief Cavallo is going to make that presentation.
Good evening.
Bill, if you need to excuse yourself, it's okay. You've done your job, it's okay.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm here tonight to talk about the ordinance that addresses a minor amendment to section 15.28.50, Title 15 related to the adoption of the ICC International Fire Code. The purpose of this amendment is to rectify an unintentional reference to the 2015 edition of the ICC International Fire Code and to accurately reflect the adoption of the 2021 edition. The ordinance 2022M-26 as intended. So my recommendation would be to approve the ordinance amending the Title 15 for building and construction.
Wonderful.
Move for approval.
Moved by Wirball, seconded by Petrillo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. That
Thank you,
motion
sir.
is carried. Thank you very much, Deputy Chief Cavallo. Next up, we have public comment. Anyone here for public comment? I do not see any. We'll move right along. Any additional items from mayor, council, or staff tonight? I do not see any. With that, I'm looking for a motion, a second to adjourn. Moved by Gems, seconded by Munn. All those in favor of adjourning say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.